Okay, can you still hear me? All right, we are going to, first of all, welcome. Thank you for getting on the call. This is one of those subjects that I just love to read about and talk about because I have adopted the philosophies that are in this book, Go for No, and they have really made a big impact on my business. Have you guys read this book? Yes? No? You're muted, so you've read it? Okay. Well, I've read it a couple of times, and for the benefit of the people who watch this on video, I will explain a little bit about the storyline. So it's a fictional story that teaches a lesson, and it's about a salesman named Eric Bratton who hits his head and wakes up in a different time. I think he goes back in time. And he wakes up in a really nice home, a beautiful home on a golf course overlooking like the 8 fairways or whatever. There's housekeepers and chefs and nice cars, and this guy even has a plane. So he's very confused because this is not his home. He goes and he wanders around and he goes into the study of the house and he picks up a book and he sees himself on the jacket cover that he wrote the book. So that's very, very strange to him because he's not an author and he has never written a book, so he doesn't understand how that happened. But on the book cover, there's a phone number. So he decides to call it. And he, it's a fictional story, so they make it so that there's not a whole lot of resistance to what's going on. But he ends up calling himself and sharing an experience that only he knew about so that the younger version of himself knew that this wasn't a fraud situation and that they should really get together and talk. So that's exactly what they did. And the older man, the one that bumped his head and woke up, is a lukewarm, successful salesman. He's lukewarm, has had lukewarm success in his life. And he's fine, but lukewarm. The younger version of himself is a massive success. So where did one go right and one go left? So as through their conversations, they discover the point in time that changed the trajectory of their life. And it was an experience, it was a sales experience where at that time they were one person. So the one guy, Eric, was selling clothes, men's clothes, like at a men's warehouse. And he had his biggest sale ever. It was about $1,200, which was more than he had ever sold to anybody before, and it was more than he had ever spent in a transaction either. So the regional sales manager happened to be watching the transaction take place, and at the end, Eric was very, very proud of himself, and he was patting himself on the back, and he was excited. He had the biggest sale of his life. But the regional sales manager asked a simple question: how did you know that customer was done buying? And the answer was he might not have been done buying. He never said no. Eric, the salesman, just basically closed down the sale, and the customer went on his way. So the regional salesman said, don't let your fear of hearing the word no stand in between you and greatness. And so imagine if he had just kept saying, well, maybe you need this tie, or how about that? Do you like this tie? Or do you need some shoes to go with those suits? Who knows how much that customer would have spent. But in Eric's mind, he had hit the highest number he had ever seen, and he was done. So that happens to us in our business too. I know if I can get somebody to learn and understand the importance of gut health and inflammation, and we go down the road of the triplex. I mean, how do I know that they don't also want to try P96 or the body cream or the vitamin? Maybe I even asked them if they take a multivitamin, and are they about out of theirs? A lot of times I don't keep pushing the sale. Okay. So that is one of the many important concepts that this book talks about. But failure is a failure in hearing the word no. Failure is a halfway mark on the road to success. It's not the destination to be avoided, but rather a stepping stone to get what you really want in life. And the best way to desensitize yourself to that word no is to be around it, to invite it into your world, into your job, into your business, and hear it. And the best way to desensitize yourself to an action is to do it, okay? And we talk a lot about taking action in this business. And I believe that action cures everything. If you feel like you're in a slump, then take action. If you feel like you're getting hit with punches left and right, like, you get a customer who stops ordering, or you get an ambassador go white line or something like that, we feel like those are hits. Well, the way to respond to that is just to take action. Failing, oh gosh, I just talked to a girl the other day who has been paralyzed by fear and hasn't been able to share anything about Plexus because she's afraid of the response. She's afraid of the response that she's going to get. Well, I pushed her and talked her through it. And she wrote her first post. She sent it to me ahead of time. And I had asked her, I said, if you're with me, then this is going to happen today. And she was very nervous about it, but she agreed. So she put her post together. She sent it to me. And at midnight, I'm like, where is it? I don't see it. So I sent her a note and I'm like, okay, now what's happening? And she was still so worried about the response she was going to get. Well, I finally got her to post it. I think it was yesterday. So yesterday was Monday. It took her she was supposed to have this done on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. She finally posted, and she had an overwhelming positive response. When I saw it about an hour after she posted, she already had 33 comments, and they were all very, very positive. So I'm excited to touch base with her and see her reaction to that. But failing, it's just part of the process. Hearing pushback and hearing negativity, or the word no, or somebody's, a comment that somebody just puts off into the universe, and we take personally, that's part of the process, and we have to desensitize ourselves to it. All right, the word no does not have to be debilitating to us. And that's just like this girl I was working with. I mean, the word no, it took her 4 months to say anything about Plexus because she was afraid of hearing the word no. All right, so I want to talk to you. In the book there, it talks about 5 failure levels. And I just want to go over them really quick because I think they're so important to figure out where you are and where your mind is and where you want to be. So level 1 is the ability to fail. 100% of the people on earth have the ability to fail. It's where we all start. What keeps most people on this level is their intense desire to avoid any form of failure at all. Okay, as a result, 80% of all people never move past this basic level. I've seen it so many times. Level 2 is a willingness to fail. Level 2 people develop the willingness to fail, and develop is the key word here. It's learned. You have to recognize that this is happening and learn how to deal with it and develop a willingness to fail, which means that they come to accept failure as a natural byproduct of the process of seeking success. Okay? Fewer than 20% of all people make it to level 2 for any sustained period of time. They might put their toe in the water and then draw back because it's uncomfortable. Level 3 is a wantingness to fail. And I think that, those of us on this call and the people in Tapestry are definitely hanging out in level 2 or above. We are not paralyzed by fear. We are putting ourselves out there. But level 3 is the wantingness to fail. Having the wantingness to fail goes beyond mere tolerance or acceptance of failure as a part of life. Wantingness means developing the desire to fail with the inner faith that personal and financial growth will follow. Fewer than 5% of all people ever get to level 3. So then levels 4 and 5 are more about awareness than anything. The people who ascend to level 4 have come to the conclusion that if failing is good, then failing faster is better. And not just failing faster, but if one is going to increase their failure rate, Do it going after big goals that are worthy of the effort. And then level 5 is where leaders are. Leaders realize that if they take their teams with them and teach them this philosophy that of failing exponentially, which is level 5, that it means massive success for everybody. This final level is for those rare individuals who understand that massive success requires multiplication of effort. Level 5 people enlist others to fail with them, knowing that if individual failure means individual success, then group failure equals group success. So figure out where you are, what is your current comfort zone, and remember, your comfort zone is either expanding or contracting. It's in constant motion. It's not stagnant, but wherever you are right now, and think about where you want to be. I know, Melissa, you are growing a team. So one of the things that you can consider is teaching all of those teammates this philosophy of going for no and then doing it together. I'll get into disassociating the action from the results, but don't even worry about where you end up. If you focus on the activity and the action of going for no, then the success comes. It just does. Okay, so the willingness to hear no is important, but what is even more important is your success is a wantingness to fail. So sometimes I'm getting ahead of myself. I got to stay on point. Okay, so you might be thinking, who wants to fail? Who wants to be rejected? It's awful. Ooh, it feels so uncomfortable. Well, who says it has to be awful? Where is it written that rejection has to be terrible? Why can't rejection be slightly annoying, amusing, exciting, or energizing? There was a guest speaker at a convention I went to a few years ago, and she says if people reject the concept of plexus, you just gotta laugh. Like, I'll be over here driving my Plexus Lexus. You go on about your business. I mean, there are people that just don't want to be helped, but she said, you just gotta laugh, not to their face, but to yourself. So take rejection and, see, here he comes. Go out there. All right. He's going to have to just sit back there. Can you please take him? I'm on a conference call. I can't. I'm on a conference call. Dad can.
Come on, Beach.
Sorry, y'all. Okay. So why can't hearing rejection or hearing the word no be exciting or energizing? While we have no control over the actions of others, we have total and complete control over how we react. If we decided to make each no we received and every rejection we encountered something that empowered us, imagine that. Instead of avoiding rejection, what if we made the decision to seek it out? And this is exactly what we're talking about. This is called going for no. So this is where it gets into the practical application with our specific business. So Benjamin Franklin once said, success has ruined many a man. And this is true. Think about your sales goals. I know when there is an incentive, I work my tail off until I reach that incentive. And then I'm like, okay, now I can relax, take a step back. I'm done. I can just put it to bed, and now I'm going to focus on next month when next month gets here, right? Have you ever done that? Like if there's a sales incentive, if my goal is to reach the 500 CC club, when I hit those numbers, if that's my goal, my one and only goal, then I have done this. I have been like, I've reached it. I can relax and I can move, and I could focus on other things, and I'll get back to Plexus in a couple when the month turns over. Well, what if, so right now, one of my goals is to reach the 700 consistency club. And that means I get 3 new customers and 3 new ambassadors. Now, imagine that I know for a fact, based on my records of reaching out and talking to people, that I have to talk to 10 people to get 1 yes, to make 1 sale. So that means if I need I need to close 6 deals, then I need to talk to 60 people. And 54 of those people tell me no, okay? But in truth and in practice, many of the people I reach out to, they don't even respond to me the first time or the second time I reach out to them. So what if I went for 54 actual no's? How many people would actually say no to me? I think it's a lot less than I can really imagine. So if I kept working, regardless of the outcome of my actions, regardless of whether somebody joined me or purchased a product from me, and I kept working until I got 54 no's, I guarantee you I would blow past my goal of getting 6 yeses. I guarantee you, because I don't get that many no's. In our business, we get a lot of nothing. We get a lot of non-responses. But if you go for no, then you are bound to get the yeses. This is focusing on behavior-oriented goals instead of results-oriented goals. And I've always said, you have got to separate yourself, you've got to separate your mind from the outcome of your action and focus on just taking the action. I personally am not attached to the results of my action, and I guarantee that success, because I know that success is part of the process. Now, some people are willing to go a lot further than others, and this willingness to fail in this book, Go for No, is called a failure quotient, and everybody has one. It's how much are you willing to take before you quit. So let's think about this for a second. Think about Babe Ruth. He has a record for the most home runs. Well, he also has a record for the most strikeouts. Okay, he was willing to fail to succeed. Think about doctors. Doctors lose patience. They lose patience. They die, but they still go on. They don't say, I can't do this. Probably some of them do, and they get washed out in medical school, but doctors really have it tough. It's not easy, but as is everything with life, it gets easier with practice. Think about having a baby. So I had 4 babies. 3 of them I had with no medication, no epidural, nothing. And that was my choice. And I survived, barely. It was like I was dying, but I survived. And then you forget about how awful it was. And then you're crazy enough to get pregnant again. So you don't remember the no's and the negatives and the hardships. You remember the success, okay? Think about Les Brown and the story he told at convention about becoming a DJ on the air. He showed up every single day to that office, and that guy told him no so many times. And finally, he got a break. That is what it takes. That is and he went on to be a huge success. That is the persistence that it takes to be successful. So, how do we apply these concepts to our business and where we are with Plexus? So, tip number 1, I have 6 tips. All right. Tip number 1, separate the action from the results and focus on the action. Or the activity is what we call it. Focus on your income producing activities, focus on getting the no's, and don't worry about the outcome because success will happen. Tip number 2, keep track of how many actual no's you get because they're not as many as we think. And be super nice when you get one because as we all know, getting a no does not mean never. It just means not right now. I've been doing this for 3 years. I cannot tell you how many people have told me no and have come back and are now customers or ambassadors on my team. Okay? So, and that's because I am super nice in all circumstances. I believe that the customer or potential customer is always right. And I never get upset with their decisions. All right, tip number 3, don't fail in this business just because you didn't reach out to enough people. Talk to as many people as you can and then talk to some more. Network marketing is a numbers game and you will be more successful if you talk to more people. You don't have to talk to them a lot. We say less to more people. That's what Bob Heilig says, and it's true. Say less to more people. And that there's a lot behind that. That means you have to continue to expand your network, and you have to learn the what to say and those kind of things. But boiling down here is, don't fail just because you didn't reach out to enough people. Tip number 4 is get a handle and understand basic follow-up statistics. 92% of salespeople give up before the 5th follow-up. And in this book, he calls it out and says before the 5th time that they have asked for the sale. I mean, that is strong language, asking for a sale. And 60% of all customers say no 4 times before saying yes. So if you think of those statistics, 92% of salespeople give up before they've asked for the 5th sale, for the sale for the 5th time. And 60% of all customers don't make a decision until they've been asked 5 times. Okay? Connect those dots. Tip number 5, this is not easy to do, but imagine if you did it, what kind of impact it would have on your business. Take things a step further in the conversation, and if somebody says no, ask them why. Ask them why. Say, why? What is the reason? It would help me learn. I'm new to this business. It would help me learn to understand where you're coming from. Sometimes it's a simple objection and having a conversation. And I'm not saying ask them why so you could try to persuade them to a yes. Ask them why so that you can learn about what people are thinking when you're in this business. If it's a simple objection, yeah, sure, maybe you can resolve it right then and there. Or maybe it's something that I don't know what it could be. There's a million reasons why people would say no. Maybe it could be that they got burned by a network marketing, opportunity before. And that's understandable. I have too. I get it. Okay, so ask them why. This will help you get better. And what's the harm in it? You can say from just an inquisitive point of view, would you mind telling me why? It would help me learn so I could get better at this business. That's not going to put anybody out or turn anybody off. They're going to think that they're being helpful, which people want to be helpful. All right. And tip number 6, teach your people to do the same thing. Teach them to be strong and not collapse under negativity or naysayers or cynics. Teach them to be strong and to be bold. When you fail together as a team, you succeed together as a team. So those are my tips. Ooh, I'm getting better on time. Less than 30 minutes. So I would love to open it up. I'm going to unmute you. I would love to hear your stories on going for no, whether you've implemented this in your business. Oops, I can't unmute Melissa for some reason. Maybe you can unmute yourself if you want to say something. So, Monica, have you done this? I mean, is this something that you do all the time, is go for no?
I can't seem to get no's. I just get not nows.
Yeah.
Is that supposed to be a no?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Go for no kind of helped me as far as once I got a no for going back.
Yeah.
Got
but
the accordion file. Like, I think it was you that said it before. I'm starting to do the accordion file and move them up a couple of weeks and hit them again.
Okay, good. Great. Follow-up is the key. I mean, the fortune is in the follow-up. The sales are in the follow-up. That's obvious from the sales statistics. So good. That's awesome. And and not right now, you can ask that same question. Why? Is it a financial issue? Is it, and you can say it without being nosy.
I expected that when I came in, though. I know Plexus is kind of pricey to people. So I already expected it to be a challenge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But we have lots of stories of people who couldn't afford it and are now making a lot of money selling it. So like Melissa Martin, she's a great example of that. She couldn't afford it, and she was told, hey, if you just get 2 or 3 customers, you can get your products paid for. And that's where she started. So not everybody's open to it, but if we educate, we can maybe expand their vision to include, the business side of it. So what about you, Melissa? For some reason, I can't unmute you. Maybe you can unmute yourself.
I just did. I don't know if there's construction going on around me. Can you hear me?
Not really. It's kind of garbled. That's okay.
You're frozen on the screen.
Yeah.
I can hear you, but you're not moving, so I don't. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, I can kind of hear you, and you're not moving either. Oh, there you are. You just moved. So this book literally took me an hour to read and to digest, and it was the third time I read it. But it is such a good book, and I highly recommend that you read it for the lessons that it teaches. It's an easy read. It's like 70 pages long, and the pages are really short and easy to read. So this, if you work your business using these philosophies, gosh, the sky's the limit, It really is. So that's the lesson for today. And this was the 4th breakout session. I'm not sure. Haley's been on vacation. I'm on vacation right now, and I'm not sure the direction that we're going to take. I know she wants to keep this group together, but I'm not sure what that's going to look like. So we may keep having breakout sessions, or we may not. We'll see. So I hope it was helpful for you, and I'm going to post the recording. So if you've got people in Tapestry that are on your team and you think it's worth their while, tag them and let them listen to it as well. All right?
Thanks.
All right. Have a great day. Thank you for getting on.